Good morning, children. Unit 3, Section C, Laughing Song. So, this is a poem by William Blake. So, children, before going to the textbook, think about these questions. Okay, what are the things that make you laugh? What do you mean by laughing therapy? Why is it called laughter is the best medicine? How can laughter cure ailments? Infectious laughter, what do you mean by this? Okay, so most of the terms that you might have, what is related with that of laugh. So it might be, familiar to you, like infectious laughter, laughter is the best medicine. These all things you might have heard about. So the thing is, like, my question is, what are the things that make you laugh? So some people, what are the things that make you happy? There are many things that make you laugh. Like for some people, it will be just like an ice cream. For some people, it will be just a book. For some people, seeing their friends. For some people, it will be like spending some time with family. So for some people, it might be just reading a joke in your WhatsApp, or some people it might be just reading some comical books. So it can be anything. So the thing is, like, the things that, so these are the some of the things that make you laugh. And the second question is, like, how many times you laugh in a day, or like, did you laugh today? So these are the some things that we do not think nowadays, or that that is going away from us. Okay, in a busy schedule and everything, we forget to laugh. We forget to spend some time with our family, and above all, we forget to spend some time in nature or with nature. We forget to appreciate nature. We forget to understand the beauty of nature, and we forget to notice that things in nature that makes us happy. And if we all know that, there is something called laughing therapy. Because what is laughing therapy? Because it is just a kind of medicine, or, as it is already said here, laughter is the best medicine. It is said like that because it can cure many diseases of yours. Why? Because it calms your mind. That is the main thing. It calms your mind. When you laugh, you are forgetting everything. You're relieved of your stress. You forget your problems. You forget your tensions. You forget your that things that causes you the things that cause you worries. So and then you are just laughing it out. Then what happens? It will affect your brain, so that you feel good. Then you feel relaxed, you feel relieved. Okay, and then it will cure many diseases. And then something that is called infectious laughter. So what do you mean by this? Infection means what? Now we know, like, right now it is a very familiar word, infection. Corona is infectious. Means what? It passed from one individual to another individual very easily. It can be transferred easily. Now here the term is infectious laughter. What do you mean by infectious laughter? So just like that, laughter is something like, it can easily pass from one individual to another. And just then after that, the whole group will be included, the crowd will be included, and then everyone will start laughing. So that is called infectious laughter without any reason. There is no, it is not necessary, like, there should be some reason for that. Without any reason, everyone will start laughing. Then sometimes you might have noticed, like, most of the societies, they have, like, yoga club, aerobics club, Zumba club, and everything. Like that, there will be something called laughing club also. Because where old people, like, people of middle age, old people, they spend some time together, and without any reason, they just start laughing. And you can see, like, one will start laughing, and then, just like as it is said here, infectious, it will pass from one individual to another, and all will start laughing. Now see, when I said, like, there is some club, or like, infection, sorry, laughing club or something. So you can see the importance, how much, how much importance it has, how much importance it has got to do in our life, just like that of yoga or Zumba or aerobics. Coming to the author, William Blake. So William Blake, uh, he was a very famous writer, painter, poet, and but the thing is, like, many times he was not recognized during his lifetime. It is only after his death that he got recognized. And as it is said here, he was a 19th century writer. So in the previous PPT also, while I described about Robert Browning, I told you, like, you remember that he belonged to Victorian age. So as I said, English literature, it is divided into different ages, depending upon the taste of the writers, or sometimes depending upon the rulers who ruled England that time. So, romantic age is something like, because here most of the writers who belonged to this age, they had a taste for the nature. They had most of the paintings and everything, it is related with that of the nature. And these writers spent more time with nature. They found happiness in nature. Now, then after his death, only his writings, it has influenced countless writers and artists also of different ages. Now, these are some of the famous poems that are mentioned here of William Blake, like the tiger, the chimney sweeper, the lamb. And the tiger and the lamb, you can, if you get a chance, just go through it. So it is also like, very simple poem, which again, can be read in different levels. So if you just read it, it can be read for a 3-year-old, or it can be, it can, you people also can read it. And then it, at the same time, there are different connotations, like, what are the things, connotation in the sense, like, as I mentioned, it is like some deeper meanings for the poem also. So for if I'm not wrong, the tiger, the poem, it starts with these lines like, the tiger burning bright. So it describes, the poem itself starts with the writer mentioning about the eyes of the tiger. And to contrast here the spelling of the tiger is correct only. In William Blake's version, it is like this only, Tyger. Okay, and the lamp. Okay, so you can see innocence, all these things are, very common themes in his poems. Now, coming to the first stanza. So, if you have, now I assume that you have gone through this poem. So, if you have read, you can see like the poem is a very simple poem, small poem, which is divided into, three stanzas. Very simple. You will not find any extraordinary words or difficult words in his poem. But again, as I tell in the class also, read the poem silently for 2 to 3 times. Only then you will get the meaning of his poem. Because he is famous for that nonsensical literature, or it is called as, very deeper meanings inside the poem. Because when we read the poem for one time itself, we just feel like, everything has been covered, we got the idea. But actually, it is not the fact. We need to read it twice or thrice to get the proper meaning. Now, if you have read the poem, you can see like in the first stanza, like, when the green woods laugh with the voice of joy, and the dimpling stream runs laughing by, when the air does laugh with a merry wit, and the green hill laughs with the noise of it. So here, see, if you have read this poem carefully, read it once again silently. Okay, now you will come to notice, like, it is all. I mean, all the lines are written in, it is not independent clauses, like, it is dependent clause. Like, see the first line, when the greenwoods laugh with the voice of joy. So it is depend on some other statement, but whether that statement is given, no. See, when the greenwoods laugh with the voice of joy, when the greenwoods, when it is laughing, okay, when it is producing the voice of joy, what will happen? Whether it is mentioned, no. See the second sentence. And the dimpling stream runs laughing by. So when the dimpling stream also runs laughing by, when the dimpling stream also runs, what happens? It is not given. When the air does laugh with a merry wit. So because of some jokes or something, when the air is also included in that, or when the green hill is also laughing. So these, if you have read it, you can see like, when all these things happen, when green woods, dimpling stream, air, green hill, when the whole nature itself is laughing, what will happen? It is not given. So here you can see, like, the poet is trying to get I mean get the grasp of the reader, or he's trying to create a suspense in the reader, because he's not telling the climax, or he's not telling the details about, he's just giving like, when these things laugh, what happens. Okay, when these things laugh, the so that's what I said, these are all dependent clauses. It is depending on some other clause, and that clause is not given. Depending on which clause, it is not given here. Okay, so might be at the end of the poem, if you have read, you might have read it right now. So by the end of the poem only he tells us like what these clauses depend upon. So now this is the second stanza. When the meadows laugh with lively green, and the grasshopper laughs in the merry scene. When Mary, Susan, and Emily, with a sweet round mouth, sing ha ha he. Okay. So here also you can see like again these are also dependent clauses depending on something, not independent ones. Like when this meadows laugh, when they laugh, because when they are actively green, when they are green, when they are totally green, they will be happy and they will also start laughing according to the poet. And when everything is happy, when these meadows are happy, when it is green grass and everything, the grasshopper will be happy because as it is said, it is infectious. It will pass to grasshopper also. Okay, and then it will also start laughing. Then once you see this nature, the whole nature in green with flowers, with animals and insects also laughing in it, it will be, it is a visual treat for the people also. Then they will also start laughing. Okay, and it is said like they will start singing the song like ha ha he. Okay, so here it is said like again as I said, when they all laugh, what will happen, it is not given in the second stanza also. So reminding you, the whole poem is of three stanzas only. So till the second stanza, if you have read it carefully, it all the statements are given in dependent clauses. Like it is not said, I mean the suspense is not revealed till here. And we can discuss about this, the personification, the poetic devices used, we can discuss it in the coming slides. Now we can see the rhyme scheme also. So rhyme scheme, as it is already told in the previous poems also, like we will find out the last word, the last sound of the word. Okay, last sound of the last word in each line. And then we will mark it. Suppose if it is like here, it is green, so the word green, it ends in n sound, n sound. Okay, so n. And here it is very seen, so seen, so green and seen, it rhymes same, right? So I'm giving a here. Okay, so if this is in the textbook, it is like seen also will be coming in the second line only. And here in the third line, Emily, so E sound here, ha ha he. Okay, again E sound. So if I'm marking as like green and seen, it sounds similar, so I can mark it as like A, and Emily and he. Again, like sounds similar, so I'm making it as BB. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is AABB. So it is the poem itself is throughout, it maintains the same rhyme scheme only, like it is AABB pattern. Yes, coming to the third stanza, and this is the last stanza of the laughing song. And here you can see, like, again, the first two lines of this stanza, these are also given as dependent clauses only. The poet is not revealing. Only in the end of the poem, when we come towards the end of the poem, or the last two lines of the poem only reveal the conclusion or the climax statement. So because here also he says like, no, when the painted birds laugh in the shade, that means when the painted birds, means here it means like when the colorful birds, when they laugh, that when they will laugh, because the nature itself is happy, so that infection is passed to them also. There are table with cherries and nuts is spread. So here, the table is spread with cherries and nuts. So if you see it here also, you can see like, cherries and nuts. So this everything, it is taken from nature only. Because nature is happy, so it is producing like more fruits, nuts, and everything. Okay, so nothing is, that is made out of made from kitchen and everything. Uh, in totally into the nature. So where a table with cherries, nuts is spread. Come, live, and be merry, and join with me. So now he is telling, when the nature is happy, when the people in that means the animals, the insects, and everything is happy, then what you need to do. This last two statement, it is the conclusion. Okay, that he is telling, like the conclusion to that of when statement, like a then you people come, live and be merry and join with me. Then you people be happy, live your life. And then what you need to do, you need to sing. What you need to sing? Ha ha he. Okay, so sing along with me, ha ha he. Enjoy your life, enjoy each minute of your life, enjoy each second of your life. Spend some time in nature, look out of the window. Okay, be with the nature. There are many things that can give you happiness in nature itself. So actually, if you read Blake's poem, like it is famous for the ideal world in the sense like which is which in a way you can say like which is not possible. He talks about many that kind of things which is not possible to happen in the world. Okay, so he is famous for that kind of writing also. So, but from this lesson, there is like uh, it has very important information to to give to you people. Like like in this pandemic situation, also like be happy, enjoy. Like life will not be same like as it is. So take a minute of your life, go out, enjoy each day, the morning itself, get up and think like whether you had laughed yesterday. Okay, so just make a checklist of it, and if it is possible like like every day make sure like you at least laugh for some time. Okay, laugh with your friends. It doesn't matter like you might be cracking some jokes and everything, but again it is like depending upon the situation. Okay, see, everything has a limit, so depending on the situation, take it seriously and spend some time with nature. Now, children, coming to the theme of the poem, as it is, each and every stanza is mentioning only one and one theme only. You can see the nature, I mean, theme of nature also. But nature, you see, you cannot take it as a theme. Okay, nature is actually like it is the imagery that is used. Hmm. But here, and you can see the color combination also. Like there are so many colors involved here, like green, green, green. Only green is there, right? So, so it is giving importance to that color also. So the theme you can take it like see when you it is again depending upon your reading. So you can take the color also as the theme also. Then, but what this color suggests, it suggests happiness only. It is not talking about any black color or something. So the theme is happiness. We can make it very simple. Theme is happiness only. So the theme is Blake is inviting the readers to take part in the celebration. After all nature, uh, after all nature and all the people have begun to laugh and be merry, he wants all to come join in the song. So that is the theme. Like be happy. He wants everyone to be a part of the song. Like ha ha. So here you can this only like the feeling of happiness and also some of its emotions are also conveyed by the poem. Emotions in the sense like the singing, like the dimpling streams that they are running. So these are the emotions that are related to that of happiness. Running with joy, singing with happiness. Okay, so because of singing because of happiness. So these are the emotions that are conveyed by the poem. So a feeling of happiness.
Now, coming to poetic devices. Now, again, I don't think there is no need to describe what poetic devices, what an imagery is, what a personification is in every PPT, because we have already learned it. Like imagery, what do you mean by an imagery? What are different kinds of imagery? What is personification? In the last PPT itself, that is in Pied Piper only, personification is described in detail. Imagery, if you want any reference, please refer the PPT that is sent along with the first lesson of the literature leader, that is the boy who broke the bank. Okay, so you will get more details about this imagery and personification. So imagery, as it is said, it will be appealing your senses, like you feel like sometimes it will be appealing to your ears, sometimes it will be a visual treat for your eyes, sometimes it will be you feel like as it is tasted and everything. So here you can see like auditory imagery. You can come across auditory imagery in the sense like the laughing of woods, stream, air, green hills. You feel like that these are laughing. So this is the auditory imagery. Now personification, like laughing, which is a human attribute or the quality of a human being. It is given to a non-human thing. Like it is given to woods. Laughing is given as an attribute of the stream. Laughing is given as an attribute of the air. Laughing is given as an attribute of the uh, green hills. It is again that of meadows, then grasshopper, birds. So these are given to the human qualities are given to a non-human thing. Okay, so that is called personification. Then apart from this, you get visual imagery also, like visual treat when you see this, because when you read the poem itself, like laughing of woods, laughing of stream, laughing of, when you read this poem itself, you get a visual treat, like you feel like you can see the nature where everyone is happy, so you can go for the visual imagery also. So that is the end of this PPT. There is only one video for this poem because this is a very small poem of 3 stanzas. Go through this PPT, like for the what are the important points that is covered, like theme, the poetic devices used, and the rhyme scheme. Okay, go through these points once again. Thank you.